Hi everybody, welcome to the Masterflow Plumbing YouTube channel. If you are new here, please click subscribe and like down below, and please read our full disclaimer in the description below. Plumbing is a dangerous profession and should be left to the professionals at all times. However, if you are going to attempt to do any plumbing on your own, there are some things that you should be aware of. You always want to make sure you turn the water off in your house before you attempt to do anything. I always advise turn it all off because I've actually seen in some situations where you isolate a specific fixture that you're going to work on, and sometimes the valves can be very hard to crank and turn, and I have literally seen those break off when people have tried it. So the easiest thing to do and the safest thing to do is always turn the water off to your house. Now, while we're on the subject of safety, we will talk about some safety gear that you should be wearing. Always wear eye protection. Safety glasses are definitely a must in this profession. A little history about myself. I have been a master plumber for over 30 years now, and I have had my own business for 22 years. So please click subscribe below and like, help us out with that, and we are going to begin our first video. Kind of recap on the safety gear for this video. You're going to want to make sure you have a pair of safety glasses to put on your face to protect your eyes, because solder can splatter, and pieces of copper can actually get lodged in your eyeball. Trust me, I've been to the emergency room a few times myself in my 30-year career, and it is no fun to get stuff in your eyes. Also, I am a professional. You should always wear a long sleeve shirt so that you don't get burns. I have scars all over me to prove why you should do that. However, I am a professional. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and it is very, very hot where I am located today. In fact, it's 96 degrees outside, so I am wearing a short sleeve shirt. If you see me sweating, that is why. It is very, very hot today. Also, next thing you're going to want when you're working with copper pipe is you're going to want a pair of gloves. Not just any pair of gloves. You're going to want to make sure you have 100% cotton. These are actually what we call brown jersey gloves. They are literally made out of like a sweatshirt type material. It's just 100% cotton. The reason why is because if you do get hot solder drips on your hand or on your fingertips or anything like that, you don't want it to burn through, especially like some kind of a nylon synthetic material glove that will actually melt and burn into your skin. Trust me, that's not a good thing to do. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on our brown jersey gloves, and we're going to talk about the different methods of cutting copper pipe. So this right here is a piece of 1/2" M copper. This is the most common size and type of pipe that you're going to find in any residential home throughout the country. This particular piece is fairly new. It's got a little bit of tarnishing on it, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but this piece of pipe will be good for the demonstration. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different ways to cut it and how you actually will solder it back together. Now with that said, let me point out to you that we are doing this on a table with kind of a makeshift stand for the camera, and odds are this is going to be in a very inconvenient location in your home when you go to work on it. We will be doing another video later on that will describe how to deal with water when you're trying to solder a copper pipe together. However, in this video we're just going to cover the basics. So let me tell you about the different ways there are to cut a piece of pipe like this. There are cutters like this, which is a general auto cut, they call it, and it just simply clamps onto the pipe and then you spin it. You don't have to do anything other than spin it in one direction and it will cut the pipe just like you need. There is also the conventional method of cutting copper pipe, which is your conventional tubing cutter that almost every plumber is going to have. This type of tubing cutter that is made for cutting copper that almost every plumber is going to have in their tool bucket. You may even have one laying around the house that your father or grandfather gave to you. These have become pretty obsolete for professional plumbers like me. I wish they would have had the next tool I'm going to show you 20 years ago. Now then maybe my hands wouldn't hurt like they do, as I've reached my middle 50s. However, these are both acceptable methods to cut pipe. If you have to, you can always use a hacksaw or even a reciprocating saw to cut the pipe. However, I'm going to remind you, once again, always turn off the water first to your house. And if you have a way to drain the water out of the piping, either through the bottom of your water heater and into a floor drain or a sump pump or something of that nature, that is always going to help you along. Soldering copper pipe with water in it is a whole nother story, and that is going to be, in a later video. But for right now, we're just going to show you in a controlled environment the basics of it. So I promised you I was going to show you a really cool tool for cutting copper. Well, this is what I use. And the way this works, this particular cutter is made by Milwaukee, and it cuts 3 different size copper pipe. It cuts 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch copper pipe, and you don't have to do anything to it. This is an expensive tool that not every homeowner is going to want to run out and buy. It will get into some pretty confined spaces. I use it daily with my job, and I absolutely love it. However, I can tell you it is very dangerous. You do not want to get your fingers caught in it. It has a rotating head on it like that, and if you get your finger in it, I can attest firsthand what it's like to get a finger caught in one. I always like to tell people that the tool is a couple $100 to buy it with the battery and the charger, and it cost me a $6,000 deductible to learn how to use it safely. So, without further ado, this is how you actually use this tool to cut this piece of pipe. You're going to put it on here like this, and you're going to hit the trigger, and you're going to cut it. And as you can see, it does a wonderful job of that. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces of copper pipe that I want to reconnect. Okay, now this might be anywhere in your home. Maybe you put a nail through there trying to hang a picture, and you've had access in your wall. Maybe it's vertical, maybe it's horizontal, maybe it's going on a weird angle like this. It doesn't really matter. The key is to get it cut where you need to make the splice into it, and try to get the water out of it the best that you can. Sometimes I use a straw, put my thumb over it, and draw the water out of it that way, if necessary. So what we're going to talk about next is the preparation on how to reconnect these 2 pieces of pipe, our copper pipe. And first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to clean up the 2 ends where we're going to make the splice on this. It's absolutely necessary to do this step. If you don't, good luck. You're never going to get the solder to take to the pipe, and you're going to have leaks, and you're going to become frustrated, and you're going to swear off plumbing for the rest of your life as a result of it. So real quick, we'll talk about the different methods of cleaning the copper pipe. There are a couple different things that you can do. The most common is, this is what is called open mesh plumber's cloth, or abrasive cloth, whatever you want to call it. And we actually just take it, and again, you might not have the convenience of holding the pipe in your hand that you're going to do this. It may be inside of a wall somewhere. But use your imagination. You're going to want to clean up these ends. So I actually take it and I just wrap it around like this, and then I twist my hand. If I can't move the pipe, then I just do this. If I can move the pipe, sometimes I'll actually use my leg and I'll do it like this. That's always the quickest way. But any way you can do it is fine. So the other method I also always have in my toolbox is one of these. These are really great because I can do 2 different size pipes with this, plus the fittings themselves. So you can actually take this and just twirl that around on there, get it nice and clean, and as you can see, it does the exact same thing. Absolutely necessary to do if you want your soldering to be done correctly. So right here is what we call a 1/2 inch copper coupling. This is what we're going to use to join these 2 pieces of pipe together. So I'm going to use my 1/2 inch side of my fitting brush, and I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to twirl it around a couple times, clean up the inside of that really nicely. You see how that does that? And then I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so from here, we'll talk a little bit about the next step. This is actually lead-free solder paste, commonly known as Soldering Flux. This is, like I said, a lead-free, which is required by the International Plumbing Code, which is recognized in the United States of America. This particular one is OD brand number 5. It is a water-soluble, which means that it can be washed away with water, and it's not an oil-based product. So you got to have a flux brush, and I always do a hole in the top of my container. That way it's nice and convenient for me to just put that in there like that. Whatever your method is, that's fine, but this is the stuff that you want to use. not to be confused with electrical flux that would be used for soldering electrical wires, which is not that common. It's mostly used inside the solder. It's built into the solder you use for soldering electric wires. It is completely different than what you use for copper pipe, and you should not attempt to use electrical solder or electrical flux for soldering copper pipe together. So with that said, we're going to take our flux brush that's got all kinds of flux on the end of it. Well, somebody once told me that you could never use too much flux on a copper pipe or fitting that you're prepping for solder. I think that it can be excessive though. I think what you really want to do is just kind of get a nice little coating on your pipe like that on both ends that you're going to be doing. You're going to put a nice even coat on there. If you get a little extra on there, that's fine. It certainly doesn't hurt, but I think sometimes if you have too much on there, it can make a mess because that flux, when it starts to get hot, will start to drip. And sometimes if you drip that on somebody's floor or something like that, they're not going to be real happy with you. So once you have both ends of your copper pipe soldered together, you're going to put flux on the inside of your fitting that you cleaned and prepped also. And as you can see, you know, it gets a little sloppy. Another reason why you want to wear gloves doing this, because soldering flux is a type of acid-based paste that actually purifies the copper pipe, that allows the solder to actually stick and adhere to it properly. So once we do that, we're going to take it and we're going to put the coupling on one end. We're going to put our next prepared end into the other end of the coupling. And in this particular case, I have the luxury of being in the shop here on a table with a little makeshift stand that will make this very easy for me. So I'm going to set that right here, which is where we're going to make that solder connection right there. So now we're going to talk about solder. Okay, this is a lead-free type solder. It's actually silver bright. This is a 1 pound roll of it, and it's about $40 nowadays. It's expensive, but this is the stuff you want. Again, let me tell you again that you don't want to use electrical solder. It will not do the job properly. There'll be some old timers out there that tell you, oh yeah, I just use that stuff and it works great. Yeah, that's not true. So this is the solder you want to use. It doesn't have to be this brand, but it does need to be a lead-free solder because again, that is the international plumbing code in this country that we follow. Next, we'll talk about torches. This is the torch that I use, and it is a very nice torch head. It actually just unscrews from the tank here, and that's how that works. My torch head will run on propane or this stuff, which is MAP Pro, which is an acetylene and propane combination. It burns a little hotter than regular propane does. However, if all you have is regular propane laying around to work for your torch, and that's the kind you have, it will work just fine also. And if you run out of the blue tank or the yellow tank, you can always use one of these guys as well. They do work also. It may just take a little longer to heat up the pipe. On a pipe this size, that won't really matter. Okay, so let's begin soldering this copper pipe. I always like to put a little hook on the end of my solder like that and have it ready, because as I heat this, I'm going to actually apply the solder on each side of it, and it's going to melt and kind of blend itself in there. Again, I have a very nice torch. I am a professional. This is what I do. So this is a turbo torch. It gets very, very hot, and if I held it on this copper long enough, I would melt the copper. So I'm going to go ahead and light my torch. I'll turn it back off because while the torch is lit, inevitably somebody's going to want to talk to you. So the first thing you need to remember to do is say, hey, I can't hear you right now. The torch is very loud. It is a loud thing, and you won't be able to hear people talk or ask you questions, nor should you be distracted when this is going on either. So we're going to light it again, and we're going to begin soldering this copper pipe. Okay, you want to heat it up pretty evenly. So I always start off like this, get around the bottom the best that I can, try to get both sides, just kind of get it generally warm to begin with, and then you want to actually just kind of get it on one side a little bit at a time, and then you're going to, when it's hot enough, begin applying the solder like so. I always try to get all the way around. And then when you're done doing that, always make sure you set your torch up somewhere where it won't burn anything. And then, nice thing about these gloves is if you want them to look pretty, you can always take your finger and you can wipe that off afterwards. Any drips of solder that you have on there, you just flick them off there. And that is how you actually join two pieces of copper back together after you've made a cut in them. Now, the procedure is exactly the same whether you're using a coupling to put two pieces of pipe back together, or if you have to make a 90-degree turn and you're using a 90-degree elbow, or even a 45-degree elbow. There are endless amounts of fittings out there in different configurations that you can do. I will tell you this, when you're soldering copper pipe together, when it comes to fittings, for example, a T fitting is exactly as it's described. It's shaped like a T, so it's got 3 ports coming into it. The rule of thumb generally is when you solder a copper fitting together, you solder all ports of that fitting before you move on to the next fitting down the line. You don't want to actually go back afterwards and reheat a port on that fitting that you forgot if you can help it. The reason why is because when you reheat that, sometimes it can actually cause fatigue or even a leak to occur on the other ones that you'd already done previously. So when you start doing a copper pipe repair of any kind, make sure you solder your fittings on both ends or all 3 ends, whichever one applies. So with that said, that is how you join a piece of copper pipe together. I always recommend that after you're done, you can go ahead and use a rag, or in my case I can use my glove, and yeah, that's warm, but it's my fingers don't have a lot of feeling left in them. They've been burned a lot over the years. But you want to wipe that excess flux off there, because if you don't, it'll actually cause this copper to turn green in a relatively short period of time, and it'll look bad, and it will, a lot of homeowners think that that's an issue when the pipe turns green, and that's going to cause a leak down the road that they don't want to deal with. So you don't want to leave that behind if you can help it. If you really want to get into it, you can actually go ahead and take your sandcloth again and kind of clean it back up, make sure you get all that flux off there, or you could even use a spray cleaner on it if you would like to. Alright, I hope that helped everybody with soldering copper pipe. Again, please read the disclaimer down below in the description. You should always leave plumbing for the professional whenever possible. However, in the coming years there's going to be a major shortage of plumbers, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this YouTube video, because there's going to be a real need for people to do their own plumbing work in the near future. Thank you, and please, like I said, click subscribe and like down below and help us out so we can keep these videos coming to you, and I hope that was a big help for you. Alright, have a nice day. Master plan recap on the